So, we're talking Netflix original series, Afterlife Season 2. I reviewed the first season on this podcast, but it's not on YouTube. It's one of those episodes that was kind of in that grace period of me trying to figure out what I was doing with my camera. So, I didn't have a camera at that time, but I recorded it. It's on those audio podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. So I'm going to be talking a little bit similar things for all you YouTube guys and people who are newer to the channel. But if you're unfamiliar with Afterlife, it's a Netflix original, first off, and it's created and stars Ricky Gervais. And if you're unfamiliar with Ricky Gervais, he's the mastermind behind The Office, the English and the American Office. He also is he's that big guy who was doing the Golden Globes, hosting the Golden Globes, and has those famous monologues where he just savagely roasts everyone. So yeah, he's great. I'm a huge fan. I think he's an incredibly talented comedian. He's so funny. And here in Afterlife, he plays a guy named Tony who recently lost his wife to cancer, and they had a really great relationship. And he, watches videos of his wife, and a video recording that his wife made for him to help him deal with the life without her. And so it's him dealing with depression because, when you're getting introduced to Tony, he's very depressed and wants to kill himself. And the whole narrative behind the first season is he's just going to be shitty to everyone, because if that doesn't work, he can always just fall back on killing himself. And it's him learning how that's kind of a shitty thing to do. And the first season I thought was amazing and very emotionally resonant to me, because one, it's hilarious. I've never laughed so hard in a while, especially the season 1 and in season 2 as well. But also just it has so many great representations or descriptions of what grief is and what dealing with depression actually is. It's described, he describes in season 2 that grief, he's addicted to grief. It's almost like a drug. And that is incredibly true. I remember when I first, was dealing with this when I was in high school, it was pretty, constantly with you, constantly reminded day in and day out, pretty much every minute of every second of every day. And, that whole, being down, it's kind of hard to get out of. So, I thought that was really great. And it, takes you over all, real suddenly. You can just be doing something and something makes you think of that, that dark place. So cliche, but, it's true. And you're instantly down, instantly just fucks your entire day up. But, so that's really great here. And it's also Brent pointed out that all the good memories that you even have of the person that you lost are even tainted by this grief because they're not here anymore. You remember those good times and then you're reminded that those good times are never going to happen again, and you're never going to be able to revisit them ever again because they're not here anymore. And it fucking sucks. And it's and people always say oh, just get over it, depression. Why, what? Depression is just a state of mind. You can just get over it. And no, it's not. It's a thing that you constantly have to deal with, and the only cure for it is pretty much time. I mean, yeah, you can take antidepressants to kind of suppress it a little bit, but I mean, you just over time learn how to deal with it and how to let it not affect your daily life and affect the ones around you, especially the ones you love. I mean, this show really brings all that forward, and it does it incredibly well. And it almost when I was watching it, it was just so I was just so reminded of me, because. Sorry, I thought I heard some noise in my apartment, and that's pretty weird. Okay, well, we're going to keep going, and if someone comes in through that door and murders me, well, I got it on tape. Well, he's going to erase it. It's not like this is going to be uploaded. What is happening with me? What is happening with this podcast? I'm going a little stir-crazy, maybe. I don't know. I need to get out of the apartment, probably. It's been a while, but let me get some more whiskey. Put some more alcohol in my system at 2:45 in the morning in the afternoon. But yeah, so I was watching the Afterlife, and I'm just reminded of me and how I used humor to make others laugh and make myself laugh, just kind of suppress the pain of that loss and the depression that I was feeling at the time. And it's still there. It's just time has passed, and I've learned how to let it not affect my daily life. And sometimes you just kind of have to go through it and just kind of let it out every once in a while, but hopefully privately where no one's watching. That's one thing that I think a horror film called The Babadook is so brilliant. I personally believe it's a modern horror classic, and spoiler alert, it might be in my top 100. But a lot of people think that's just like a run-of-the-mill monster possession film, and it's not. It's so much more than that. The Babadook is a metaphor for grief and depression. What is that? Never mind. Doesn't matter. I think maybe that's just me. But I'm talking about a horror film, and then there's fucking noises come from my apartment. Oh my god. What is that? Okay, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, whatever. Move on, Mike! Stay on target. But yeah, so the Babadook, the actual Babadook itself is a metaphor for depression and grief, Whether it's in a look or in a nook, you can't get rid of the Babadook. Yeah, that's right. You can't. And, especially at the end of the film, it does a really great job where, a little bit of spoilers, it's still around, but the main character learns how to nurture it and, keep it around, but not let it affect and seal it away and not let it affect her life and the ones that she loves' life. And then watch The Babadook if you haven't. It's fucking phenomenal. Even if you don't like horror movies, still watch it. But anyway, getting back to Afterlife, yeah, it's overall it's amazing, and it's really short too. It's 6 episodes, 30 minutes an episode. My only criticism of it would be probably that season 2 doesn't really do anything new that the first season doesn't do. It can get a little, I guess, repetitive if, for some. Not for me, really, because I thought it's still really funny and it's still very emotionally resonant to me. But, if they do the same thing again with the third season, okay, I can see some criticisms becoming a little bit more prominent if they, continue with the formula and not really do anything new. But I have confidence that Ricky Gervais will think of something. But yeah, and then it's also just a great show to let you know, don't let the cunts get you down. That's exact line is said in the show. Don't let assholes, people being inconsiderate and assholes, get you down because they don't know any better. Sometimes a lot of people say things that they don't really necessarily think about how it might come across to others, and be a little bit more considerate than that. But also, if something's said to you, just realize that the person's being an asshole, inconsiderate or a cunt, and you just move on with your life. And who cares? Who cares what other people say or think? And that's kind of another good thing about the show. The show has a lot of amazing themes and a lot of really good lessons to take out of and kind of implement into your life, especially if you're going through a hard time, which, I've had multiple times in my life. And it's definitely, it's a great show. And I think you guys should watch it. I don't think a lot of people are watching it, but I think you should.